Today I will be interviewing Megan Alberts, who is currently a professional intern at the Child Development Center in Athens, Ohio. Megan has been a professional intern at the Child Development Center since fall semester. She is currently a senior who will be graduating in May with a degree in early childhood. And upon graduation, she wishes to receive a job in teaching. I decided to interview Megan because I babysit for a family and the little boy attends preschool at the Child Development Center. After picking the boy from preschool every Tuesday, I found the Child Development Center interesting and wanted to learn more information about it for self-fulfillment. I also think it would be interesting to interview one of the professional interns to hear about their experience and learn what their day-to-day consists of, and that's why I decided to interview Megan. My interview time will be 20 to 25 minutes. My interview time will be this, by having a breakdown of first, the background of the Child Development Center. Second, having Megan answer questions which I prepared. Third, having Megan talk about her experience with the Child Development Center. Fourth, asking Megan if she has anything to add to the interview. And lastly, closing with having a recap of the Child Development Center. I'm going to give first the background of the Childhood Development Center. The Ohio University Child Development Center is located at the Ridges in Athens, Ohio. The Child Development Center, also known as the CDC, is one of the only centers at the area that serves children aged 6 weeks to 5 years. The Child Development Center is highly looked upon and can serve as a model for the best practices in southeastern Ohio. According to the Child Development Center, their value statements and what they believe are that children should be active participants in the world around them, and the part of the Child Development Center is to create a nurturing and challenging environment for children and Practium students. After giving background information about the Child Development Center, I'm now going to conduct my interview with Megan. Hi Megan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, so as I explained before, I'm conducting an interview because I babysit for a boy, and I think it would be interesting to hear about your what you do as a professional intern at the Child Development Center. So I'm first going to start off with the first question of, how did you hear about the Child Development Center?
I first heard about the CDC when I had to be a lab student there for one of my classes. I had to do like volunteer hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first interactions I had with it, and that's the first time I've ever heard of it.
So do you enjoy going to CDC every day?
I do, yeah.
You do?
No, I do. I think it's a really great school, and it has just great values, and
Mm-hmm. That's why I looked on their website and found their mission statement and what they believe in.
yeah.
It seemed like they're really passionate about that.
Yeah.
And the children. So, what was the process of getting selected to be a professional intern at the Child Development Center?
Well, everyone in early childhood has to have a pre-primary internship, which is with a preschool age group. So I just got placed there. I didn't ask to be placed there or apply to be placed there. I just got an email from the lady that does the placements and said that CDC.
So where else could you be placed at? Like, you got lucky because the Child Development Center is so close, but I heard you could be placed like up to an hour away.
Up to an hour away, but it's at preschools all in the Athens area. So it could be in Athens, but it could be in like places closer to West Virginia. Something like that.
So do you feel being in Athens, your resources are limited because there's not really much in Athens, like rather than if you were in Columbus?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, especially just for lesson planning and stuff, there's not many places you can go.
Yeah.
And get resources for. But other than that, the community is pretty supportive in general.
That's good.
Yeah.
So once you got the email about being selected to be a professional intern, how did you feel? Were you anxious, nervous, overwhelmed, or?
I was actually less anxious than I would be if I was placed somewhere else, just because I've been in that school before, and I started volunteering there freshman year, so I just felt comfortable with the placement that I got.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly do you do as a professional intern every day at the CDC?
Well, I'm in an infant room, so I am in charge of taking care of the infants, which is a lot of prepping meals and changing diapers and putting them to sleep and prepping bottles. But you're basically like a master teacher. Like, you're working, but you're just not getting paid. So they treat you as a teacher, and I would have the same responsibilities as the teachers do.
So you said you're the master teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So is there another teacher in with you?
There's
like watching over you?
There's 2 master teachers in every classroom, and then they have a
another student and you?
No, it's like 2 teachers getting paid.
Oh, and then just you.
And then a professional intern.
Okay. Because I know when I pick up prom, there's
There's less students there
there's
too.
2 teachers and then another teacher
in
too.
his class there is.
Yeah.
And there isn't.
So how long are you at the Childhood Development Center every day?
I go from 8 to 12:30 every day, so 4.5 hours. And then next semester when I have my primary internship is when I'll do a full school day.
Oh,
so it's sort of like transitioning in.
So do you feel like you'll be prepared next semester for that?
Yeah, especially since we've had this experience and then our partnership experience last year, which was 2 days a week.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice that you have like real hands-on to learn. And then you said, so how long is it every single? I mean, it's Monday through Friday, right?
Mm-hmm. Every day, 4.5 hours.
Jeez.
Monday through Friday, yeah.
It's long.
Yeah.
So is this internship required in order for you to graduate with a degree in early childhood?
Yes, you have to complete a pre-primary internship and then a primary in order to graduate at ODU. I don't know if it's different other places.
So then the primary will be going
to a school
next year, or next semester.
Mm-hmm. All day.
Where are you placed next semester? Do you know yet?
I'm at the Plains Elementary. It's like 10 minutes away.
That's nice. Yeah, close again.
Yeah.
What ages do you work with at the Child Development Center?
I'm in the infant room, so right now we have infants ages 3 months to 14 months. So it's a pretty big stretch.
Do they interact with each other well?
The younger ones really don't until they're like closer to a year. There's not as many like peer interactions. It's more like individual play. But they all interact, and they're all at very different stages of development.
So how would you describe a day at the Childhood Development Center if I was like going to mentor you?
Well, from my experience there, I get there in the mornings and I prep breakfast, which is like rice cereal and different things for all the little babies. And then they eat breakfast, and then we do a first round of diapers. You have to do diapers every 2.5 hours. And then after they're all done with diapers, then we'll do bottles. So I usually like prep bottles, and then they do morning nap. They wake up from morning nap, they do diapers again, and then we eat lunch. And then that's usually when we have time for like a lesson before I leave.
So what do you mean when it's like a lesson?
Well, for our like planning, we plan all the different areas of the room, just because that's primarily like their curriculum is playing with different objects in the room and stuff like that. So like if we plan to go to like the gross motor room or to go on a buggy ride around the ridges, that's when we'll do it.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
So how are the children, because I know it's like you have to be selected to get in, correct? So how do you get selected to be chosen?
I'm not really sure about the selection process, but I know that they work on finding families that would fit in well with the center and with the dynamic of the center and in like certain classrooms too. So I'm not really sure what they select based upon, but I know that you have to be selected.
And then also when I go and pick up the little boy, there's like you have to have the passcode and everything, so I feel like it's really like high security.
Yeah, it's a really safe location, and they work hard to make it safe.
Do you feel safe being there?
Yeah.
What would you say like your favorite part about being a professional intern at the Childhood Development Center is?
I would say just like getting to interact with lab students, and just like because other people at other places don't get that opportunity. So like just sort of to give them advice about their experiences that are coming, that are like that they'll be interacting with. And then
so
also,
like for students coming in next semester do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I just get to interact with them and tell them how my experience has been. And then also too just getting to work with babies, because I'm one of the only people that got to do that.
Oh really? So how many people were you the only one?
3.
Oh, wait, why is there only 3?
Because the other places that they're placed at, like where any of the other early childhood people are placed at, is just preschools. It's not like a daycare. So just us 3 got to interact with babies, and that's just really good for like resumes and just to view development differently, because there's so much development going on at such a young age.
Yeah, it's a good experience then. What would you say your least favorite part about being a professional intern is?
My least favorite part is sort of that I get stuck doing a lot of the not so fun jobs like laundry and cleaning up dishes and doing diapers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's less of like a teacher role, more of a caretaker role.
Because they're so young.
Yeah.
So after almost completing fall semester special intern, like, do you feel it's helped prepare you for like a future job?
Definitely. It's shown me that I can take my knowledge and the things that I know and can actually put them into practice, and that I can succeed at it. So yeah, I'd say that.
Do you have any funny stories to tell about being at the Childhood Development Center that you've experienced? Probably many.
Yes. Well, just last week we had the stomach flu go around our classroom.
Oh no.
So there was one day that all the kids got sick. I got thrown up on by a baby, and then another baby pooped in his onesie up to his neck and his back. So I had to clean him off of the sink. And
oh my gosh,
it was pretty.
Is that typical?
No.
No.
That was the first time that's happened. So.
Oh my gosh. So are most of the parents, like, if that happens, do they just come and pick them up usually? Then?
Yeah, usually we have like a policy, like if they throw up, it has to be at least twice, or just to make sure that it's not like just something that they ate or just their stomach's upset. So yeah.
Well, that's interesting stories.
Yeah.
So would you recommend being a professional intern at the Childhood Development Center?
Yeah. I was wary about it at first because as a lab student, it's not as great of an experience because you get stuck just doing those like chore-like jobs. But I've really enjoyed it, and I felt that they do a really good job of supporting you and helping you learn, because it's a lab school is what they call it. So they're working on educating us while also working with the children. So they have a lot of focus on making sure that we succeed, and yeah.
What's the greatest thing you personally learned while being an intern at the Child Development Center?
The greatest thing I learned? Well, I felt like I learned a lot about parent communication, which is like key to being a teacher. Just like communicating with families and parents.
What's like an example of that?
I had to sit in and do like basically run parent-teacher conferences with at least 2 of the families. And then I also I sent out like weekly newsletters about what was happening. I had to talk to parents on the phone a lot, like if their kid needed their lunch brought or they weren't feeling well. And then just that drop off and pick up too, like you have to talk with the parents.
Interact with them.
Yeah.
So that's also a good experience because you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
Will you be doing that next semester too then?
It just depends, because it depends. I've never been to that school, so I don't know if a lot of kids are bused there, because if they are, then I won't have that face-to-face interaction every day.
Do you think it's going to be a hard transition going from infants to kindergarten?
I would say so. I mean, it's obviously a really different age group, but I've worked in a first grade classroom before. I haven't been with kindergarten, so it should be interesting, but it shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. What's your favorite grade to teach? You would think like your ideal grade.
I think second grade.
Second. Why
because
second?
First grade they learn a lot about like the foundations of like reading and math and everything, and then second grade's where they really start to like understand it. And then third grade they just have become like a lot older and more mature.
Yeah.
So I still like second grade. Like I like their personalities are still very like carefree and stuff. But I like that you don't have to teach them all the foundations and basics.
Yeah. Have you've experienced anything that's caught you off guard, or like learned anything that you just like you thought was really shocking? You never knew that's how it would be like handling a situation.
I wouldn't say that as much as just like learning about babies in general and like the things that I'm gonna have to go through to be a mom, and just you learn so much, that information that is valuable later on in life. So I'd say that would just be the most shocking.
Just like how to deal with the babies.
Yeah, because you learn so much that I never knew before.
What's like an example? It's interesting.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe even like how to make a bottle. Like most people wouldn't know how to do that. Or like how to rock a baby to sleep the first day. It was horrible. I couldn't get anyone to fall asleep in that.
What's the proper technique?
Well, you give them their bottle. It just depends because each child's different. But
so do you like know every single child, or do you only interact with a couple of the children, or every single one?
I interact with everyone, and we sort of have like a routine down, because there's usually only me, a master teacher, and then sometimes a lab student for nap in the mornings. So like for that we have a routine, like this child needs to be put down first because they sleep they'll sleep even if the other children are up and talking like babbling.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, just learning all those routines, that was really hard. But yeah.
Well, it's nice that you'll have that for future.
Mhm.
So overall, you seem like this has been a pretty positive experience. So you definitely recommend it to others, and
yeah, I would, especially at the Child Development Center.
Yeah,
just from the opportunities I've.
So what's like the last? What's your like overall? What was like the best thing you would say about the Child Development Center? If you had to explain it to someone, it's like a last piece of it.
You mean like the center, or like something that I learned?
Something that you learned.
Something that I learned. Like one thing I would take away from it. I don't know. That's hard. I just really liked. They follow like a Reggio Emilia inspired curriculum, which is a place in Italy, and it's just there's certain curriculums that each preschool like upholds. So I learned a lot about that curriculum, and I think I took away from it was that I really enjoyed that curriculum and like the way that they plan for lessons and.
What's the curriculum?
It's mainly like a child-centered creative curriculum. So we plan lessons for like 10 developmental areas, and then we also like at the end of every week we list out things that the children like have interest in or are curious each one. So the curriculum then is like based upon that. And so I just felt like, especially for infants, it was very child-centered, and you don't really think that you need to do lessons for infants. So
I know, that's
they
what
focus on the developmental aspect.
Because you probably thought going in, weren't you, like, how am I going to...
Yeah, I just figured I was going to be taking care of them. But yeah, there actually are lessons, and I just like the way that they focus on each child. So I would take away from it is that's my favorite kind of curriculum to work in.
Well, that'll be neat next semester to learn to see what where did you say? The planes?
Yeah.
What the planes teaching.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's really interesting to learn about the Childhood Development Center. Thanks for taking your time out to explain it to me and give me information.
Okay.
Nice meeting you again.
You too.
Good luck with finals.
Thanks.